Depression is fun in its own little cruel way, something that always lingers around you and makes you feel guilty for relaxing on a Sunday afternoon or not living up to this preconceived potential or this idea that you have of yourself. It's something that shames you for relaxing and makes you feel guilty for even existing. When you live with depression for so long, you forget what it's like to not deal with depression, what it's like to not constantly judge yourself and feel like you're a defect in this world that needs to be spit out. My depression, and with a mix of anxiety, also gives me the bonus addition of dissociation, leaving my body feeling like it's on autopilot as it gets me through my day. My body feels so foreign, and I wake up every morning feeling like I stole another man's skin, and I'm just using it temporarily, hoping that one day I'll find my own. Disassociation depression brings upon confusion about who I am and what life really even is. I just try my best to get tasks done and try not to lose my mind. One major thought that's been plaguing my mind is, what do I do? I always feel like I'm wasting my time regardless of what I do. I do exposure therapy and try to work on my anxiety, but the question always comes back to, what do I do? Nothing feels right and everything feels forced, so it constantly feels as though I'm going down the wrong path. I'm not doing what I need to do. No matter what I do, it always feels like the wrong decision, and simple decisions can sometimes leave me paralyzed, not sure what to do next. While I struggle with depression, it isn't without cause. I deal with something called agoraphobia, and that basically means I fear going outside. I have this because my body likes to greet me with foreign sensations that my body perceives as threats, and this leads to panic attacks if I drive too far away from my perceived safety of my home. I wish it ended there, but even my home, I still struggle with persistent dizziness and dissociation that lead to this constant fear of panic attacks and just not a great time. You would think after having hundreds of panic attacks and having a lot of experience in the area, my brain would get the memo and, not be afraid of them anymore, but something just isn't connecting up there. The good news is they have gotten shorter, but still the initial fear is not something I like dealing with. Trying to get better from my situation is a lot of exposure and interoceptive therapy, which is basically forcing yourself into these near panic-inducing situations. It's not a fun time, as I dread the next day having to deal with doing this over and over again with no break. Even if I do take a break, like Sundays I don't do my driving exposures, I still feel like shit and guilty for doing nothing. Depression is always by my side, whether I'm doing nothing or not doing enough. It's always there to remind me of all that I've missed out on life and the basic tasks that I can't do like a normal person. It makes me feel like I was born in the wrong world, with fears that make little sense, and I struggle with even the ability to cry and release some of this pain, because that kind of relief is just not something that I deserve. I'm stuck in my house, in my room, playing video games or doing anything to find an escape, but there really is none. The only way forward is to do this exposure therapy, but it just feels like I'm in this never-ending loop of torturing myself, hoping for this pain to one day stop. I've been working very hard to get better, but I fear the pain won't be worth the reward. People tell me the pain can be a blessing in disguise, because when I cross this hurdle, I'll be a better person for it, and I'll have all this experience. But what if this actually never ends? What if this finish line doesn't exist and I'm stuck running forever? What if all this work I put in is for nothing and I just have to live with the fact that I'll never get to have the life experiences that are worth living for? What if I'm just meant to be unhappy and life doesn't get better? Well, I really do want to tell you that, life gets better and everything's going to be sunshine rainbows, but the truth is, I really don't know. I've definitely had times where I felt better, and I definitely have had times where I felt worse. For me, this is where depression likes to play its own games and have its own fun in its own little cruel way, because I never know how I'm going to feel. Waking up the next morning is the only way to find out. I've had times where things have gotten really bad really quickly, so it's got to be the same on the other side, right? If everything could go so poorly, can't everything also go just super perfectly? My point is, we really don't know what's in store for us. I want to say my life is going to suck forever. Maybe it will, but more than likely there's a chance that things will get better. Life is so unpredictable, and sometimes we can never predict what's going to happen next, even though we think things can only get worse. So I'll just keep on going on this depression roller coaster just to see what will happen, because why not? What else am I going to do?